Kunprin, the government has been quick in responding to the second wave of the pandemic, right? But has been criticized for being too slow in dealing with the economic fallout from the pandemic, especially in coming up with measures to help people, who have lost their jobs and people whose business are affected by the virtual, not lockdown, but partial lockdown of the country, right? People believe that the government should have learned some lessons from the first wave of the pandemic, but this is the case that has been too slow.
I think that is a fair criticism because a lot of people, I think, were surprised, especially for this government who, they have been applauded by successfully on the healthcare front, successfully beating COVID the first round. When the second round come, I think some government officials, I think, were caught off guard, especially when the reason of the outbreak came from illegal activities, whether it's migrant workers, illegal ones, and the casino, gambling, illegal gambling, all this stuff I think caught them off guard. And I think that may be part of the reason why the response came a little bit slower than one would have liked.
But is the policy enough to try to stimulate the economic growth under the COVID-19 crisis? Or do you think the government should be spending on any particular aspect more?
I think, you have to do it two or three things at the same time. The timing, the magnitude, and the size and the way you communicate, they all come together, all very important. Because first of all, you come out, you communicate to the public, and then you say, we have bazooka, 2 trillion baht, which is a big enough size. And then you say, okay, we're going to do program. I think the giving away money part is the easy part. So they try to do that, that's the easy part. But a more difficult part is how do you emerge from a crisis intact and relatively stronger because you always find opportunities in crisis. How do we then get out of this and engineer a digital transformation that the government wants to do? I think any layman can be prime minister and give away money for free. That's the easy part. For me, the more difficult part is how do you use the money to create multiplier effects or to engineer incentivize the public at large to be more diligent and be more, work hard at learning new skills, learning new trades that are more employable for the digital world economy 4.0 that Thailand want to aspire to grow into.
The criticisms that we have been hearing is that the government is too preoccupied with the immediate challenge in dealing with the present state of the pandemic, which is understandable. But the problem is that it doesn't look like the government is paying enough attention to long-term vision to prepare the country for what we see as the post-COVID-19 world.
And I think they heard many pundits. In fact, they heard from many experts. And they have actually asked those experts to join a committee. SBS was an economic advisory panel. And some of them are good people, very smart people. But the government need to listen and act on those advices.
And in terms of global economy, another crucial transition is leadership transition in the US, how it will impact the Thai economy under leadership of President Joe Biden.
The real tone of the policy from US will not change too much in the near term. They will still see China as a threat to their global dominance, to their hegemon. So therefore, that tension between US and China is still there. The tone may change, but the competition is definitely still there. And that will still impact Thailand and the way we balance our interests. The US to Thailand, I still think that they may shift towards a more multilateral basis, the way they deal with emerging markets and emerging countries. And I think the mechanics at the United Nations, the World Trade Organization, and various international organizations, they will go through those channels more. It doesn't mean that there won't be as, in the sense of the American, the way they protect their markets and the way they want to dominate certain side of things. The muscles will still be there, the intentions still there, but the tone will shift towards the more issues of human rights, the tones towards the environment issue, the green economy, Paris agreements, all those will be brought back, and the labor rights and all this stuff, which some of them for Thailand, we may be concerned because our standards may not be global standards nor American standards yet.
The continuing rivalry between the US and China will certainly be a big challenge for countries like Thailand. So how do you see the Thailand's position in dealing with that kind of situation? Because under Trump, it looks like at times we seem to have been forced to take sides, right?
Yeah.
But under Biden, we are not quite sure whether he would want to put similar pressure on countries like Thailand or not. But if push comes to shove, I mean, how do you think Thailand should handle that kind of situation?
I think Thailand probably have to balance, and I'm sure we will not be enemies with anyone. I mean, we would like to be friends with both of them. Both our long-term friendship with America and even our deep history with China. So I think both have some good things. And I always see that a good balance act would be you always look at what are the positive side of those two economies. They're from different political system, but different political system often yield different results, but there are positivity within those systems. And if you look at the companies that come out from those two systems, some of them have leading technology, leading innovation, and definitely leading edges technologies and people that we want to work with and actually want to bring to Thailand, to invest in Thailand directly and to employ our people, to transfer the knowledge, the technology to Thailand. We have to shortcut. We're not the expert at everything. Thailand is a country that people want to live, come for tourism travel after COVID. I'm sure we'll be back to tourism. But you have to find ways to attract both the investment in the value-added areas. And there are value-added area and value-added industries of the future that both countries have, and we want to attract those people to come to invest more in our country.